Welcome to Pain, Passion, and Purpose. I am your host, Shakita Torres, where I share mental health education, biblical teachings, and tips to help you to heal on purpose so you can walk boldly in your God-given purpose. This podcast is sponsored by Empowered Purpose Academy, a certified online Christian academy where we provide services such as certification for Christian life coaches, mentorship for master's level aspiring and existing Christian therapists, mentorship for Christians, and continued education courses for the body of Christ. You can visit www.empoweredpurposeacademy to learn more and to download your free guide. If you like today's episode, please subscribe and leave us a raving review so that others can tap into the knowledge and wisdom that will be shared on this podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, so before I get started on today's episode, if you have not subscribed to the paid membership of my podcast community, please do. It is going to bless your life. Listen, my episodes are already like therapy/coaching sessions where I give you strategy and insight and all that good stuff. But the community, you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get more resources, more tools, and be able to ask more questions where I can create episodes around your questions, and you will be able to get discounts on some of my products and my events. So what are you waiting for? The price is very affordable. This is for those who are not quite ready to invest in one-on-one coaching with me or into the Pain, Passion, and Purpose mentorship program, which is also low, by the way, but that one is a lot more in depth. You get access to courses, you get access to a Facebook community, and all that good stuff. But this is for those who just need to just listen and just gain some tools along the way. So, what are you waiting for? Go ahead. Subscribe. You won't regret it. It'll bless your life. We'll have topics around mental health and faith, biblical teachings, prayer, boundaries, communication, anxiety, depression, purpose, and so much more. I have had experience in mental health since actually about 2008 when I first finished my bachelor's program. And then from that point all the way up to today and moving forward, I have gained so much knowledge, so much experience, so much wisdom, and I am anointed for it. So go ahead, hit that button, and I hope to see you in the community. Welcome everyone back to Pain, Passion, and Purpose. Today I have a very special guest, my friend, Miss Tamika Bright. Hey Tamika, how you doing?
Hello there, Shakita. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode today. And so before we begin, I'm going to read you guys her bio, okay? It is fire, it is beautiful, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more about her story. So Miss Tamika Bright is classy, driven, and chosen. These are three words that describe her. She grew up in New Bern, North Carolina, by way of Jamaica, Queens, New York. She always knew there was something greater for her. That was in part thanks to her parents, Eliza and James Delmar, who always taught her how to be a classy lady, strive for greater in any situation, and allow God to direct her chosen path. Tamika graduated from New Bern High School in 2000 with a BS degree 4 years later in Administration of Justice from George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. She later went on to pursue her master's degree in coaching and athletic administration from Concordia University in Irvine, California. Tamika worked in the public school systems, radio, and parks recreation before pursuing coaching collegiate cheerleading as a full-time job at Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. After 6 years and 3 national championships with Methodist, Tamika started her career in radio where she used her gifts as a motivator for all people. She was the morning show host of The Daily Grind on Christian 105.7, WCLN, and weekend show host on the #1 Top 40 Hot AC cumulative station, Q98.1. Miss Tamika started the Pink Conversations podcast in 2017 and later turned to radio show for 1 year. Taking a break from the show after moving in a different direction from radio, she began to work with the communities and schools at the Walker Spivey Elementary School as a student support specialist and start an all-girl mentoring program, Uplift, where character, class, and purpose are met at Ireland Drive Middle School. She was adopted at the age of 4 years old after being in foster care for 6 months until then. She said, I can now say to the woman who gave birth to me, thank you for allowing me to be adopted and all that was done to me. What she didn't know is she birthed purpose and gave me life twice. This taken from her highly anticipated first book, Broken for the Purpose, is available now on Amazon. Tamika now works as the Parent University Coordinator for Communities and Schools and is the midday host for Fayetteville's first and only choice for hip hop and R&B, 104.5 FM, Midday Vibes with Miss Tamika Bright. Behind the mic and working with at-risk youth and women in her community keeps Tamika driven. Tamika loves spending quality time with her husband and their son, who definitely matches her energy. And yes, he does. You can catch Miss Tamika watching her favorite TV show, The Golden Girls. She seriously knows every single episode. Top that off with butter and pecan ice cream, and there you have a winner. Besides purple and pink, leopard and bling are her favorite colors. She stimulates the economy one shoe, purse, and jewelry store at a time. Just don't tell her husband. That is so hilarious. Welcome, Miss Tamika.
Hi there. How you doing?
Pretty good. I love your bio. That was funny.
Thank
That was fun to read.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this first segment. So share with us, share with the audience, a particular pain point in your life that changed you forever.
So the pain point in my life would be losing my mother at 15, and then my dad passed away when I was 20. So, like I said in my book, before I was 21, I lost both of my parents. And if you would have sat me down at the age of 13 and said, hey, by this time, this is what's going to happen to you, like, I would have just laughed and thought, you're right. There's no way that's going to happen and I can actually get through that. So that would definitely be the pain points in my life. I can't just narrow it down to one. Those were definitely the two most painful things to deal with.
Yes, because I see in your story, you were sharing in your bio how your mom pretty much gave you up for adoption when you were 6 months old.
Right. So yeah. I call her the woman that gave birth to me. And she did. I was, and she didn't give me up. It was no choice. How they found me. They found me in a clawfoot tub, which is why I feel maybe to this day, I can't stand clawfoot tubs. I can't stand tubs that's not attached, which is crazy because obviously at 6 months old, I don't remember that, but I know this by what I read, what I found out. So, but I kid you not, like I see a tub that's not attached to the wall and I just cringe. I can't stand it. But they found me in a tub with plastic over it. That's how the police found me. And so it wasn't that she gave me up for adoption. She was trying to take my life. And, but that's because I guess she just wasn't in her right mind at the time. And so the police found me then and I was put into foster care. So in my mind, before I knew I was adopted, I always knew that once I found out at an early age that I was adopted, but I didn't quite understand the whole concept of foster care. In my mind, I thought foster care was, everybody, you had all these kids in like one house, like one big group home. That's what I thought. I didn't realize I was bounced around from house to house. That's real, like, wow. For me, I'm big on energy and matching energy, and, trying to spirit by the spirit. So all those things, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you've been. You don't know what you've been into. So I just know it was nobody but God. It just kept me grounded and covered and not insane was I probably should be, but yeah.
Wow. So your mother pretty much tried to take your life by putting you in a bathtub that wasn't attached and put the plastic on top of you to pretty much try to suffocate you.
Right. So the plastic, wow. So what I envisioned, this is what I read. So what I envisioned, it was just plastic over the tub. I don't know how she did that, but she did. And that's how the police found me. And it was said that I was very malnourished. at the time, when I was 4 years old, when my mother actually adopted me, Eliza is my mommy's name and James is my daddy's name. So when they adopted me, I was 4 and I was in New York, and they said that my cognitive level was of an 18-month-old. I was 4 years old. I wasn't talking. I do remember like going to therapy. I remember that. But I didn't know it was therapy. I just thought we was going to see this lady and this man, and I was going up and down steps, and I thought that was fun to me. And I was playing with all these different colored doll babies and the doll houses. Like, I remember that. And I remember the building to this day when I go back home to New Bern. I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember going into that building. There's a bunch of steps because I used to run up and down steps, but there was a lot of skills that they were trying to teach me at 4 years old. So yeah.
That is so amazing, because looking at you today, you would not know that you had that type of delay whenever you were younger. Like,
I know, right? So they said I did not talk much at all at 4 years old. I could barely talk. My first words, though, my mom told me were bread and water. I was like, I must have been hungry and thirsty too. So, and it's funny because I'm, very loquacious now. So, hey, I made up for that.
Wow, what an amazing story. And so to, a person who has been, adopted or has a story similar to yours, who is still struggling with trying to figure out their identity and figure out their worth, what would you say to them? Because there's so many people out there who are still stuck and like, oh my God, my mom left me, my parents left me, I feel like I'm an orphan. What would you say to them?
So I think when you are adopted, anybody that's adopted, you always go through that. That's a normal thing to try to figure out like who you are, who you belong to. So I've dealt with that a lot, but I feel like, and I've said this before, that there is no void anymore. I feel like God has definitely felt that. He's filled that just because I had parents who loved me, like truly loved me. And yes, I was adopted and they knew that I wasn't theirs, but that's not how I felt. When I found out I was adopted, I was shocked because I was like, what do you mean I don't belong to y'all? Like, I thought y'all was my parents. So, and I found out at a young age, all the stuff that I just told you about being in the bathtub and all that, and being malnourished and all, I found all that out at a young age. But the finding out like where my mental capacity was and all of that, I didn't find that stuff out until maybe it's been about 5 years ago now. So all that, so yeah, I found that out just recently about all that and about just, and health-wise, how I was growing up. I didn't know any of that. So I just, for me, I did go through the whole seeking of trying to find the woman who gave birth to me, and the sperm donor is what I call the father, because it was unknown on the birth certificate for who he was. So, but I do know the woman who gave birth to me. I do know her name. So, I went through trying to find her, and I thought I found her at one point, and it clearly wasn't her. That's the story I talk about in my book. But I feel, I guess what I would just tell people is just allow yourself to go through those emotions and to feel that instead of trying to suppress it. For me, with my grief with my parents, I suppressed that for so long, and it does not help. So now I try to, when I feel whatever I feel, just let it out. If I want to cry, if I want to be angry, just kind of let it out, because I'm still dealing with the death of my brother just a year ago, and I don't want to do that the same way that I deal with my parents. So I just would encourage people who may be feeling that void or whatever, just to allow themselves to feel and go through those emotions, and then pray. That's what, that got me through a lot. It's just praying and just, God, if it is in your will to allow me to meet such and such, then great, so be it. And if it's not, then clearly there's a greater purpose for me because I'm still here. So clearly you had your hands on me because I'm still here. So just realizing that wherever you are right now, that you are loved. So, and there's no greater love than the love of our Father, right? So if we could just hold on to that, I think that's definitely what helped me, and just having that loving family too.
What a beautiful story. Your parents did a great job with raising you. Like, your bio shows for itself just how much you have accomplished and how much you have overcome with their love and their support. And I'm pretty sure they are so, so, so proud of you. I know they are.
Thank you.
So thank you for your vulnerability with that. You guys, make sure you get her book, okay? She just said that her book shares more of her story about her journey. She talks more about her, adoption, and more about her family, and more about her history. So make sure you get the book, okay? It's on Amazon, right?
Right, it is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. So you guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Miss Tamika's purpose and her passions.
Hey, I hope you are enjoying this episode so far. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a raving review. I also want to share with you more about Little Warriors in a Bottle. This is healing anointing oil that God instructed me to prepare back in 2015. I have received so many testimonies since 2015 about this oil. It is powerful. It has changed my life and others. So be sure to go visit www.empoweredpurposeacademy.com/shop to learn more about the oil. And while you're there, you can check out the new book that I co-authored called Just Say No, a #1 international bestseller, where I share my story called What Trauma Stole From Me. It is amazing. It will inspire you and encourage you. And there are also 13 other authors who share their story about setting healthy boundaries. So that's it for our little break. Let's get back into part 2 of this episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of Pain, Passion, and Purpose. So I have my friend, my sister, Miss Tamika Bright. So Miss Tamika, let us know more about your passion. I know your bio said a lot, but we want to hear from you more about what you're passionate about.
What I'm passionate about? Yeah, what I'm passionate about. Well, I feel, so your purpose and your passion definitely goes together. I have this saying, stay purpose driven and passion focused. So that's my saying. And I feel like they definitely go hand in hand. So I feel like my purpose is to empower, inform, and inspire. And that's what my tag is for my podcast, Pink Conversations. And so that's what I feel like, the purpose is here. So my passion is to do just that, especially when it comes to radio. You give me a mic and I'm just like, I'm just in my own world. I love it. I don't care if I'm on stage, if I'm, in the studio like that. It's just something about being on air and just being on radio, which is crazy because I didn't go to school for any of that. And I never even aspired to be any of that. It's just something that I kind of stumbled upon and just realized that I had a gift for and just started, working on that. So, and I did coach cheerleading, love cheerleading. It is the #1 sport out there. And I beg anybody to differ with me, don't do that. So it is a sport and I absolutely love it. I did it. I actually cheered and then I coached on a collegiate level. So I definitely enjoyed that and have 4 national championships. So that's pretty dope. So of course, being able to cheer in all things cheer, I judged it as well. And I enjoyed doing that. And I still dabble into the judging to keep kind of abreast of what's going on in cheer. That's my way of keeping current, if you will, with cheerleading. No more coaching. I'm done, but I'll judge all day. So I do that. So yeah, and just working with, with the youth, because I believe there have been times God has definitely placed people in my life that, especially after my parents died, that's definitely helped me along this journey called life. And so, and I was young, and especially when I went off to college, God, that was just a whole nother world, right? And I'm going there. Well, I started college, it was just my father, and then he passed, into my sophomore year. So that just navigating that whole world, feeling like I was by myself, and God putting people, because I went to school away, I went out of state. And so, but I did have my brother, he lived in Maryland, so he wasn't too far, but you're still in college, so you're still on campus, you're still kind of on your own type thing. So just navigating through that, I think, and that's why I like to give back and pour into youth the way that I do, because I've had some people do that for me. And I'm just so thankful for that.
You guys, that is so true, because I see you on Facebook. I see you, on your radio show, and how you always doing something to pour back into the youth, whether it's during the holidays, whether it's not a holiday, whether it's the adoption agency, foster care system, in the community. Like, you are on a roll. And so I'm thankful for your different ministry that you have and your passion. And so so fast forward to today, how has like your story from your past connected to your purpose more so today in this moment?
That is a really good question. And I don't think I ever thought about that. Like, thinking about your past and kind of where you are now, I just, you mentioned something about the foster care and what I do with the foster care kids. Around Easter, we do Easter baskets with my mentoring group. We provide Easter baskets to foster care children. And I do that because anything dealing with adoption, anything dealing with foster care is near and dear to my heart. So like, if there's something out there that I can do, like I'm on it because that is just so near and dear to me. So that is a hard question to answer. Like, wow, how is my past connected to where I'm at? I feel like I'm taking a quiz. Hold on, y'all. How is it? I'm real serious. This is live. Yeah. How is my past connected to where I am now? I honestly don't know how to answer that. Is that a good thing that I can't answer that?
No, because I feel like you've already accomplished so much already. And it's also connected to things that you're doing now, like presently, like whether it was last week, last year, last month, like you're doing a great job. I know that you are in transition, and I feel like you'll have the answer in just a little while.
I pray so, because I'm like, man, I never thought like how it was, but I do always say, like, I know, I think I said it in my bio, like, because my mom, she was big on teaching me about being a classy lady, and my father was big on, knowing it, go for everything. There's always greater, there's always more. So, and I do believe that when I look back at how I was at 6 months up until the time that I was adopted, and that's just what I know from 6 months. There's no telling what happened to me before I even turned 6 months, right? So when I think about things like that, and some of the things that I've gone through that I do talk about and go in depth in my books, and decisions and things that I made with my life, and still can look to see where I am now. It's like, yeah, he's still there. Even when we don't feel like he is, he's good, he's still there. Like, he allows you to wake up in the morning. That means there's more for you, right? That means that your purpose is not done yet. So, but we just got to allow him to order our steps. And so that's what I'm trying to stay focused on. Like, there are things that I'm passionate about and things that I really want to do, but I want to be in his will too. So if it's not what he has for me, then I don't want it. And that, that takes growth. And I still struggle with that because, we're human, we want what we want, but we have to realize that if it ain't what God has for you, that ain't it. So whatever was in my past and the path that I'm on right now, people always often ask you the question, like, would you change anything about some things you've done in your past and yada, yada. And I always say, no, I wouldn't change anything because I feel like it's brought me to where I am now. And even the mistakes that I made in my past, I wouldn't want to change because I've learned from those. Some of them. So yeah, I learned from those. So I don't want to, I don't want to change that because then you went and get the lesson that you're supposed to have. So I probably still didn't answer the question, but I'm gonna have to really think about that one.
Listen, it is okay. Listen, you are a mom, okay? Yeah. You are a wife. Like, that's purpose too. People think purpose is like this one all be all type thing, but no, it's a continual process and growth, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way we can accomplish everything all at one time, right?
And it's interesting you said that I'm a wife and a mom, and I am, and I love those roles, but I want to encourage women out there to dig deeper into who you are. Like, we know that you're a wife, you know that you're a mom, we know that you're a sister, we know that you're a daughter, and all of those are great, but what else are you? What describes you? And so when I'm doing, when I'm talking to youth, or even when I'm speaking at women's conferences, I'm always asking the question, like, what are the 3 words that describe you? I don't want to know that you're a wife and yet you're a mother. That's great. But when you read my bio, those 3 words that I said were classy, driven, and something else, whatever the third one was, right? That's what it is. So that's what I try to get women, especially women, just to understand, like, there's more to you than just that title of because you're a mom, because you have a child. But if you didn't have a child, you wouldn't be a mother, right? So that's what makes you a mom. But aside from all of that, and that shout out to my girl, Kirsten Monroe. She's the one that said to me one day, because she asked the question, well, who is Tamika? And I was like, well, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. She was like, no, I want to hear all that. And it really got me thinking, like, oh yeah, you're right. There's more to me than just that. I'm thankful to be those things. But because of those 3 words that describe you, I tell people this all the time, those 3 words that you feel that describe you are often linked to your purpose. And they're often linked to your passion of what it is that you really enjoy doing and what it is that you're supposed to be doing. If you really think about what those 3 words are that describe you. So this is something I wanted to put out there.
I love it. Here's a random question I want to ask you, because oftentimes too, I come across so many people who, whether it's coaching or therapy, whatever the case may be, who always ask me, Shakita, how do you like put yourself out there? How do you do all this speaking and everything that you're doing? And aren't you scared? I could never do that. What would you say to the woman or even to the man who struggles with that?
So it's definitely confidence. I don't think we just wake up and be like, okay, we're going to do this. It's got to take some type of push, right? And so me growing up, I dealt with confidence issues. I dealt with self-esteem issues, like really bad, like thinking that I just didn't look good. I had acne all over the place. I didn't know how to dress, like the ugly duckling. That was me, right? And so that's what I felt. So I had to, you got to start with loving yourself. And again, having a mom and a dad to love on me and to be like, no, this is not what it is, putting that word at God fifthly, and he wonderfully made you. And so I'm doing the same thing with my son, constantly telling him, how handsome he is and the young king that he is, and pouring that word into them. So I think that's important, just to build up the confidence so that you can do it. And I also feel like if God put it inside you, then yes, you're more than equipped to do it. And that's what people, I think, they get mixed up. They feel like they got to be qualified for a certain call that God gives them. And that's not it. He equips the unqualified too. Case in point, exhibit A right here, so we're not qualified to do any of this, but we're called to do it. And so, yeah, I can put myself out there. I'm big on being transparent. And because I feel like I cannot help you if I'm fake, if I'm wearing these masks. I can't do that. So I need to be able to be transparent with you and tell you, because 9 times out of 10, the things that I'm going to share with you, you've probably gone through yourself as well. And so if you're looking at me, then my prayer is that I can at least help you get through that, because I believe that we don't go through the things that we go through for ourselves. And so we have to learn how to be transparent with our story and stop trying to sugarcoat things and make it seem like everything is all roses and peaches, because it's just not. Once God releases that out of you to go through whatever you're going through, and he releases you to talk about it, then you need to do that, because there's somebody else that's connected or attached to you that's going through that same thing. And if they got to get help, they got to come out of it. And it's just a reciprocal thing, right? It just keeps going. And that's kind of, that's where I'm at with it. That's why I'm able to be transparent, to speak boldly, to whatever it is you want to call it, like you, Shakita, to go out there to share our story, to do what we're called to do, because for me, it's bigger than me. It ain't even about me, right? So there you go.
Oh my God, I love it. That answer was so meaty and so true. I say oftentimes people see people who are doing what we're doing, and I'm like, you can do the same thing. Like, we didn't get here overnight. Like, it's
Right.
been a process. Well, thank you for sharing your story about that. So you kind of answered my last question I had was, season 2, the Lord gave me, the theme is your words carry weight, speak life. And so do you want to add anything else to that? I know you mentioned before just now about, your confidence, speaking into your children, speaking into what God has for you. So do you want to share anything else about that?
Just, I think it was last week before last, I had posted something on my Instagram story. See, with my Instagram, it's real. There is no, what y'all call it nowadays, young people, sugar coating, flu gaze, caps, y'all know. Right, it's all real over there. All right, so I'm sharing the realness. There's no mask there. And so on my story, I had shared one day that I was just feeling, I call it magenta. That's what I like to call it, because I love the Golden Girls, and that was one of the episodes. Blanche was like, I'm feeling magenta, so I used that, right? So feeling magenta, it's just kind of like, just feeling blah and down. And we talked about this before, Shakita, and I have those moments, and I believe that everyone does, and they go through that. And I believe that it's important to say that, like, yo, I'm just going through something right now. I'm just kind of like in this funk right now, instead of trying to hold it together like you got it all together, because it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to just be like, I just ain't with it today. However, the important thing is, and this is what I said on that story. So I said, yeah, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling, kind of off today. I never say I'm having a bad day, because I feel like any day that God allows you to be here, that's a good day. Whether everything goes the way you want it to go or not, your eyes are open, you are seen and not viewed. Yeah, marinate on that. So it's a good day, right? So I was saying, I have an off day, and I'm in my feelings about this, but I think the important thing is not to stay there. So again, allow yourself to go through those emotions and to feel whatever you're feeling, but don't get stuck there. Just like my man Ty Tripp says, you got to get up. You can't stay there. You can't allow yourself to be in that funk. So been wrestling with whatever I've been wrestling with for the last couple of weeks, and someone else that may be going through that same thing, but you just can't allow yourself to stay there. Like, go through those emotions, feel what you feel, and then get up and say, all right, what's next? I done been through that. That couldn't kill me. It only makes you stronger. That's like a saying, a cliche, or whatever they call it, but it's so true. You know, it didn't take you out, and there was a reason for that. So I think that, you know, my words would be to allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, but know that you can't stay there because you've got work to do, and it's just not about you, boo. It's just not.
You're so right. I agree, and I love the answer. And so oftentimes people might think, okay, if God tells us to speak life and life into our situation, and I'm upset, how do I handle that? You know, and I tell people, okay, confess it. Say, God, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm feeling. I'm emotional about X, Y, Z, but I still trust you. Father, right now, I don't feel it. I don't see it. But by faith, I'm going to trust you. So God's not looking for us to fake the funk, as you were saying before.
Right. That's right.
And act like we're okay. He wants us to bring everything to him, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's what he says. He says, you know, to cast all your cares and your concerns on him because he cares for us. We're not meant, or we're not built to carry those burdens that we bring upon ourselves, but we are human, and he knows that. And so, I mean, he already knows what we're going through before we even go to him, but he also encourages us to pray without ceasing. He also encourages us to pray every time about any and everything. And so, and it's just, and when I say pray, it's more so just a conversation, you know, just talking to God. Like I just shared with y'all, this is the moment I was having. And of course I told God that too. I mean, just this past weekend, it took me 4 hours, y'all, to get home from Myrtle Beach. 4 hours. Y'all know Myrtle Beach only 2 hours from Fayetteville, okay? And I was big mad at God. And I'm sitting in the car like, God, you gotta be kidding me. Why is it taking me 4 hours? This is crazy. Da, da, da. And then I had to realize, you know what, that these detours, that they don't necessarily mean that it's such a delay where it's going to keep you from where you got to be. Ultimately, I made it home, and I made it home safely, pouring down, raining, all of that. But whatever the path was that I thought I was going to go, the path that I took to get there wasn't the same path that I took to get back. But ultimately, I made it to my destination. And whatever it was on that path that I didn't take, who knows what could have been on that path, right? So God is always protecting us and watching out for us. So when we come to those detours that we feel like are just so monumental delays, we got to remember that God can see the bigger picture. And so because he can see the bigger picture, we have to trust him. So it took 4 hours, but I ultimately got there. You know, God doesn't move like that, like with our time. Like we're saying, oh my God, it's been years, God, it's been years, and I still ain't got it. And God's like, yeah, okay, I know. But when the time comes, when I open that door, even when I shut that door, then you're going to know that is me, right? Because if we can do it on our own, then we wouldn't need him. So, and that's not what it's all about.
Absolutely. So, Miss Tamika, can you share with us how we can find you on social media and all that good stuff?
Yes. So my Facebook is Tamika S. Bright. Tamika is Tameka, and Bright is Bright. And Instagram is Tamika Bright as well. And that's it, because I can barely tweet. I can't tweet or Twitter, none of that stuff. So it's just, I just stay with Instagram and Facebook. I'll be having a time with those. My website is tamikabright.com. And you can find like my social media stuff there and my email address there. So it's that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I am super excited about everything that God has in store for you. Do you mind if I share your news with everybody about where you're going?
Yes, ma'am, you can do that. Yes.
She got invited to go to the Stellar Awards. Okay. And so I am so excited for her. She deserves this. I'm excited about every single door that God has for you, Tamika, because I see you and you pour into so many people. You have allowed so many of us to be a part of your platform. You have opened up doors for other people. And I just know that God's going to blow your mind. Okay.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, Shakita. And right back at you. So proud of what you're doing. I know God has shifted you in a different direction and you're rolling with it. I'm proud of you guys. She's on my show each and every Tuesday with Check Your Mental. She came in on December to be part of my Building Empires and Leaving Legacies Queen Spotlight. And I had already had the vision of her being on the show before I even asked her. So I had already said yes in my mind. She didn't know it though, that she was going to do this. And I was like, listen, this is what I want to start. And I want to start it in January. Can you come through each and every week at least let it go for a year and see where we're at. So every Tuesday, she drops those gems for us, checking your mental, because mental health is so important. So I appreciate you and, your faithfulness and you being committed to do this, and your faithfulness to God, just stepping out on faith, stepping, jumping, leaping, diving, all of that, right?
With the tears and all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For both of us.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh God, well, thank you so much, Miss Tamika. Oh my God, this has been a joy for me. And you guys, be sure to tune in to her radio station. Be sure to tune into her website, visit her, just email her. I mean, she's very open. Listen, you will learn so much from her and her journey, her family. It's just beautiful. So again, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Shakita.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Our prayer is that this podcast episode has blessed you. Don't forget to go and subscribe and leave us a raving review. If you would like to sow into this ministry or to this podcast, Pain, Passion, and Purpose, you can do so at Anchor FM/Pain, Passion, and Purpose, or Cash App $Shakita Torres. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time.